Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Just an Opinion. I'm concluding my sports series today by ranking the Rocky franchise. This will also include the Creed films. Never has there been such an iconic sports figure that transcended the fictional world into being a real-life hero to people. Don't believe me? Just ask the residents of Philadelphia. The series is also unique for its evolution. It's over 40 years old, and the franchise in many ways parallels the plight of the title character for the number of comebacks with the releases of new films. Now I know that as far as audience appeal, the Rocky films are divided into two camps. Some are acknowledged as legitimate cinema, and others, well, they fall more into the guilty pleasure category. That argument in itself could be its own video, but today I'm simply going to rank them for how I like them. Whether they're worthy of an Oscar or a Razzie, this is just an opinion. Now I want to start with an honorable mention for the movie Chuck. Now most people know that Rocky is based on the story of true-life boxer Chuck Wepner, who shocked the world when he nearly went the distance with champ at that time, Muhammad Ali. Sylvester Stallone penned the script for Rocky after watching this fight. This movie chronicles the trials and tribulations of Chuck, mostly how this fight impacted him, for better or for worse. It's an interesting watch, and I'm glad that they paid tribute to this story considering how inspirational Rocky is. The film covers the fight and much more, even when Chuck met Sylvester Stallone.
Believe my eyes. Chuck Wepner.
How are you, Sly?
Better now. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time, Chang.
Hey, thank you.
It's an honor, huh?
Oh, me too.
Hey, meet the guys, all right? Hey, guys,
Hey,
you know
how
Chuck
are
Wepner.
you?
Hey,
Chuck
everybody.
Wepner.
Chuck
Hey,
Wepner.
Okay, back to the list. Number 8 is Rocky V. I felt this film could have been better with some adjustments. It just felt uneven. The bullet points are simple. Rocky is broke and forced to retire. He trains a new prospect and forms a bond with him until he is ultimately betrayed. Meanwhile, his son is going through a rough patch and feels neglected by all the attention Rocky gives to his new protege. 3 substantial ingredients that don't quite combine into a delicious souffle. But there were still some highlights. The relationship between Rocky and Tommy was developed well, especially as the latter's desperation for respect led to jealousy and clouded judgment.
Money?
Yeah, I'm tired of walking around in your shadow, man. People call me your robot.
You thought I was in this for the money, Tommy? You know, we were supposed to be like brothers. You don't remember that? You don't know this, but you got a deception going here. This guy here, he was using you for the bait. He wants to get you and me in the ring. That's what he wants us to fight each other, you know, to make the money, right?
The climax was a nice touch as the inevitable final fight took place not in the ring, but in the streets.
Come on, Rock!
Come on, Tommy.
It's interesting that for nearly 20 years, this was regarded as the final entry of the series. That didn't quite end everything on a high note, but I will say that the theatrical cut is much better than the unreleased work print version. It's worth a look for true fans of the series. It's a bit more depressing as Rocky really does hit some low points and even drunkenly tells stories about making pancakes. Yes, I'm serious.
So I said, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna make myself the world's biggest, fattest, dumbest pancake in the world. So I hear music, like I was in a circus show. And it goes...
And remember Little Marie from the first movie?
Screw you, creepo!
Well, unfortunately in this alternate cut, her life is pretty much what Rocky had predicted for her if she didn't straighten up.
You little Marie from the Atomic Cookie Shop, right?
That's me, so what?
Yo, Marie! Hey, Marie. Remember when he was really like a little, and we were walking home and was talking about getting like a bad reputation because, you know, you got to stay away from sour people and nothing, remember?
Save it, Rock. You got any change?
I'm sincerely glad that they did not go in that direction with her character considering how integral her role was in Rocky Balboa. Number 7 is Rocky III. This release really made Rocky into a series versus just a story. With Rocky now the heavyweight champion of the world, where could he go from here? The answer, of course, is a wrestler versus boxer match with his opponent being Thunderlips, played by Hulk Hogan.
Break it up! Break it up! No choke! No choke! I don't sweat you!
At this point, the film is just fun. But there are some real poignant moments as we get deeper into the flick. Rocky loses both his manager and his title in one fateful night. But his comeback is assisted by an unlikely source in former opponent Apollo Creed. This really was the emotional highlight for me, as the two former enemies put aside their differences and formed a friendship.
You lost that fight, Rock, for all the wrong reasons. You lost your edge. The truth is, you didn't look hungry. Now, when we fought, you had that eye of the tiger, man, the edge. And now you got to get it back.
In the end, the flick had a little bit of everything. Silliness, the eye of the tiger, Mr. T, heartbreak, and so much more. Number 6 is Rocky 2. I'm sure it was questionable if a sequel could capture the magic of Rocky, but this entry came out quite nicely. It begins with Rocky walking away from the world of boxing, feeling he has nothing left to prove.
Apollo?
How was it?
Oh, it's just me, Rocky. Listen, could you answer me one question?
Yeah, sure.
Did you give me your best?
Yeah.
Thank you.
He retires to a simple life, but returns to the ring after being taunted and challenged by Apollo Creed for a rematch. This installment started the trend that Rocky always had to train a little bit differently, learning a new fighting style each time.
You gotta change everything. You gotta learn to be a right-handed fighter. Now this'll confuse Apollo, and it'll protect that bad eye.
I can't learn how to fight right-handed no more.
What's can't? There ain't no can'ts. There's no can'ts.
This was also evident in the final fight that was much different from the previous match. Plus, you see a shift in his confidence.
You're going down.
No way.
While still remaining our endearing Philistine,
Some Muppet toys, you know, Ernie and Big Bird and that frog, what's his name, Kermit or something like that?
he is more driven, ready to stop at nothing until he's champion. Number 5 is Rocky 4. I think this film is the epitome of the term guilty pleasure in cinema. It's a boxing movie, it's a far-right Cold War fantasy film, and it feels very much MTV influenced, as several sequences are shot like music videos. Like seriously, how many montages were there in this feature? And quite frankly, the soundtrack will always be on my jogging playlist. Storyline-wise, well, it's pretty paper thin. Ivan Drago kills Apollo Creed in an exhibition bout, and Rocky is out for revenge. Sounds like an 80s action movie, doesn't it? Well, that's kind of how it is.
He's cut! He's cut! Russian's cut! And it's a bad cut! And now it's Rocky Balboa coming after Ivan Drago!
While previous fight scenes were a bit more artistic, this one is more fervent and action-based, as Rocky quite literally is fighting for his life. And America. Number 4 is Creed 2. The first Creed installment was simply magic. This sequel was an amazing parallel storyline that furthered Donnie's storyline, yet brought closure to a chapter of his and Rocky's past. The connecting point was Ivan Drago's son challenging him. Obviously, the fight is very personal to Donnie, considering Ivan's responsibility for his father's death.
So I ain't got a choice.
Choice. That's the same thing your father said, and he died right here in my hands. Look what his choice put your mother through. You don't want to really bring all that stuff up again, do you, kid?
Rocky, on the other hand, has lived with the long-term effects of that fight, both physically and emotionally, and tries to prevent Donnie from going through the same thing. The lines are heavily blurred between passion and revenge.
Neck, and this is becoming hard to watch, Jim. I don't think Drago has anything left, but he refuses.
It was a fan person's dream come true to see Ivan and Rocky share the screen one more time, even if it was a simple conversation versus a bout in the ring.
There's you.
Nice pictures.
Yeah, okay.
Well, pictures of me.
Nah, there's no pictures of that.
I also liked how you saw things from Ivan's perspective, and the lingering results their epic confrontation had on him. Number 3 is Creed. Nearly 10 years after the release of Rocky Balboa, I welcomed a new addition to the series, but I couldn't help but wonder if it was the right decision. But I was ecstatic with the results. In many respects, it was very much a modern-day boxing film with its HBO-like presentation.
Throwing body shots like he's Rocky Balboa. Going upstairs like he's Apollo Creed.
Enough is this.
Closing seconds of the fight.
But it's still a Rocky movie, many points of the narrative serving as homage to the original. But it was an evolved storyline, even down to the music and training sequences. Stallone proved that the Rocky character was more than a fighter with his ability to make you laugh, cry, but also inspire.
I want you to train me. All right, I need somebody solid, and who else better to go to? All right, you at least owe me that.
I can tell the way you talk. You've been to school, so I figure you got some brains. Why would you want to pick a fighter's life when you don't have to? If Apollo was around, he would tell you that too.
Well, he ain't around.
Michael B. Jordan was a solid choice for the lead as Donnie. He gelled so well with Rocky with their connection to Apollo that it felt tangible. Number 2 is Rocky Balboa. Many times, sequels in an established series are very much reactionary pieces, trying to right the wrongs of the previous entry. Highlander comes to mind. But Rocky Balboa succeeded where others didn't and completely rejuvenated the series. Rocky's life has moved on, but there are some things that he's not ready to let go of.
Sometimes it's hard to breathe. I feel like this beast inside me.
It's okay, Rocco. Please, it's okay.
I just never knew it was supposed to be this hard. It wasn't supposed to be like this, Paul,
This release was able to recapture the emotional side to Rocky that had really been missing from previous installments.
What's the matter with you, Paulie?
You're living backwards, Rocco. Change the channel from yesterday. Yesterday wasn't so great.
It was to me.
Not to me.
This was a tender story, with focus also on Rocky's still strained relationship with his son.
You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow.
And his friendship with the returning Little Marie. As far as the final fight, yeah, you do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, but you're already emotionally invested at that point because the narrative is so strong. I almost feel like Rocky's desire to get in the ring one last time paralleled Sylvester Stallone's ardor for making another film to end everything on a high note. Number 1, of course, is Rocky. This is a timeless classic that can be enjoyed on so many different levels. I dare say that Rocky is perhaps the most recognizable sports film character. The film has a lowlife given a 1 in a million shot at boxing's world champion, and along the way he builds his confidence and becomes a man with integrity. Rocky's goal wasn't to be world champion, but with this one chance, he just wants to go the distance with the greatest in the world.
See, that bell rings and I'm still standing. first time in my life, see? I weren't just another bum from the neighborhood.
From a sports film perspective, we get it all. The underdog who seemingly doesn't stand a chance, his arrogant but charismatic opponent, the trainer who helps him realize his full potential, and arguably the first effective usage of a training montage that would be copied forever. But this picture works just as well as a love story.
Rocky!
Adrian!
Rocky!
Hey, where's your hat?
I love you!
Rocky and Adrian's love grew from humble beginnings to eternal, even beyond the unfortunate passing of her character. Sports films will be made until the end of time, but none have the longevity of the Rocky franchise. It is perhaps the benchmark for any point of comparison. Thank you so much for watching, and please... Hey man, I'll take it from here. So that was a lot of videos I just made on sports movies, and I kind of need a break. So I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into auteur theory next time, and I'm going to focus on the works of Noah Baumbach. I hope you check it out.
Fighting